Duelists! Welcome back to us, the channel of the sinister network of evil card games, also known as Team Snack. And yes, that's card game spelled with a K and not with a C, because Team Snack sounds really weird. My name is Magnus, and today I'm here profiling another deck profile for you guys. This is going to be Budget Guru Control. And why is it Budget Guru Control? Purely because I don't play Pot of Extravagance, because I'm a cheapskate and don't have enough money for them. So that's why it's budget. I played this deck yesterday at a charity event and I took 8th place, 8 out of 19, which is quite alright. I've had a few interesting matchups. One was a bye, which means I basically got a free win because there were an uneven amount of players. Now, my first match was against Salomon Great, which I lost. Then I did a Guru Mirror match, which I unfortunately also lost. Also, a big shout out to the other Subterra player that was there at the event. You really helped me a lot with trying to make this deck better and giving me suggestions of how to improve it. Absolutely wonderful advice. Thank you so much. Big shout out to you. And then I took 2 wins against both Dynamist and Orcust, which is quite surprising. This deck is so different from what I usually play. I'm an aggro player at heart, so a control deck is so far out of my alley. And it's not something I'm used to playing, but I want to try something among the more... I wanted to try something a bit more competitive, and Guru is actually quite of a fun deck. It's funny to be on the other side of things and actually play something that involves the grind game. So yeah, I think we don't have to waste too much time on this. We're going to start with the main deck, and let's get this direct profile of Budget Guru Control underway. The namesake of the deck is the first card we'll of course see, which is 3 copies of Subterra Guru. Everyone knows what Guru does, and everyone describes it as pure evil. Yeah, if Guru wasn't a thing, Subterras wouldn't be a thing. Guru, when it's flip summoned, allows you to search any Subterra card you want in your deck, and you can flip 2 monsters on the field face down, either one on your opponent's field or your field, and if you control another Subterra monster, it becomes a quick effect. Guru's effect is a hard once per turn, of course, which is obvious, but Guru is the main star of the deck, the main star of the show. Oh, of course, my baby Guru, you do it so well every time. So yeah, there's no reason not to be concerned with why it's Guru Control. Of course, next to Guru becomes, of course, his lovely and faithful mistress, the Subterra Fiendess, which is a hand trap that negates anything, and I mean anything. And how it specifically works you probably already know, but for those who don't know, when an effect or card is activated, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, target one face-up Subterra monster on the field, flip it face down, and then that effect is negated. And also, fun fact, when this card is on the field, you can target one card on your field, flip it face down, and if you have a Subterra monster in your graveyard, you can special summon it. It's not an effect that you use often. You mostly will use its negate effects and keep it in hand, but really, I always use that effect, and it's actually pretty damn good. If I wasn't in the Guru Mirror, I probably would have pulled it off. But this is really an incredible effect. The second effect is almost never used, but it's really good. Also, an effect that I didn't think about is, of course, the effect of Subterra Nemesis Archer. When Nemesis Archer is destroyed, you can special summon a Subterra from your deck. And also, when this card attacks a face-down defense with your monster, shuffle the card back into the deck. Yeah, once again, I say big shoutouts to the other Guru Control player, who is much better than me, who informed me of this effect, because I couldn't be bothered to read the damn card, because it's an effect I almost never go into. I just summon this card and attack directly. That's what I mostly do when playtesting this card. So yeah, but Nemesis Archer, incredible card. At 1, it's just fine. Despite the search, you almost never get off because you don't really give your opponent a chance to attack. But Nemesis Archer is really great, and it used to be very, very expensive. I feel like this was once the most expensive card in the deck, but now it's just really significantly dropped thanks to the OTS pack reprint. 1 copy of Subterra Behemoth Unrestricted. When this card is flipped, you can banish 1 monster your opponent controls. And when a Subterra card is flipped face down and you have no other cards in the field, you can special summon this card in defense mode, and once per turn this card can flip itself face down. So yeah, pretty good card. This is your main removal of the deck. Absolutely wonderful card. Joined with that is his brother and a card nobody plays, Subterra Behemoth Stalagmo. I didn't use this card in all of the duels because I really didn't get to it. It has the same effect as Restriction, where you can summon it if a Subterra monster is face down and you don't have anything else, and it can flip itself face down. And when this card is flipped, you can discard 1 Subterra monster in your hand and draw 2 cards. Yeah, it's really not necessary. This is just my own tiki check. My own geeky tech option that I wanted to try out. It doesn't really work, so I'll probably remove it. But you never know, it's fun to try and mess with. Then for the hand trap we play 3 copies of Ash and 2 copies of Veiler. Veiler I play because I don't play Infinite Impermanence, because once again I'm a cheapskate and Infinite Impermanence is bloody expensive, so I can't really do that, so I play Veiler, and Ash is just played because it's Ash. Very simple. Next up we'll go for the spells. We have 3 copies of the Hidden City. Obviously, when it's activated you add a Subterra monster from your deck to your hand, and when an attack is declared involving a face-up monster, you can flip that face-down monster face up and negate the attack. Pretty straightforward, you just play 3 copies of it. This is the main starter of the deck. You want to draw into this or Guru or Terraforming. This is just a card you really want to open with. 3 copies of Polar Duality, because once again I don't play Extravagance, though you usually play Duality in this deck anyway. This is just, you hope to draw it to this or this, so you can draw it to this or Terraforming. Very important card. Like I said, I don't play Extravagance because I'm a cheapskate and it's too expensive and it's not worth spending the money on. So 3 copies of Called by the Grave. The reason I play Called by the Grave is very simple. I play it in almost every deck. Hand traps are the death of this deck, and it's just really, it's basically just for the hand traps. Hand traps are death for any searcher. And then a check card I play a lot, but I don't say anyway. 2 copies of Super Polarization. The reason I play Super Polarization in this deck is because most people don't really see it coming. They don't see Super Poly being main decked, which is an understandable point. You don't really see it coming. So against the mirror match, this card really helped me out because, well, you can't respond to it. Nobody sees Super Poly coming at the first glance, so that's what makes it so incredible. So I mostly main deck it nowadays. 1 Subterra Cave Clash, this is pretty self-explanatory. All Subterra monsters you control K5 or attack for each set monster on the field. And when a Subterra monster declares an attack, deals battle damage to your opponent, you can add 1 Subterra monster out of your graveyard to your hand. And for the final spell we have 1 Terraforming to search out the Hidden City. So you just play effectively 4 Hidden Cities. Now for the traps, we play 2 copies of Subterra Beam and Final Battle, one of the best trap cards in the deck without a doubt. Either you can use its effect to target a face down monster and flip it face up, or target a face up monster and flip it face down. Either make sure the attack of a Subterra monster become equal to its total, so in that case Guru becomes 3400 attack and defense, and either you can make it so that Subterra monster effects cannot be negated. And the good thing about the card is it sets itself face down right at activation, so it doesn't go away. It continues to have absolutely amazing designed card, and an interesting way to make it. Then, for the control aspects of this deck, we have 3 copies of Ghost Match. Your monsters aren't really affected. All your monsters are Earth, so they aren't affected by it. So this card really helps out. Against Orcust, this deck really helped me out. You wouldn't think so, but my opponent played Sky Striker Orcust, which, yeah, you can only control 1 monster, so you have to be really selective. So yeah, Ghost Match really helped me out a lot. Still debatable whether or not it's worth it, but I like it so far, and it's glad to find that Ghost Match has finally found a place in my decks. 3 copies of the deck can be only 1, yeah, of course, because also Terra monsters are different types. They're a different type. Like Guru is, yeah, I think, not sure what Guru exactly was again, but I think it was Reptile. Venus is Spellcaster. Umastrix is, yeah. Well, I don't really know the types exactly, but I know they're all different types. So there can be 1 is absolutely amazing in this deck, and it's a detriment against most decks, especially things like Orcust. And then for the Solemn Brigade, we have 3 copies of Strike, 1 Judgment, and 1 Warning. Now, you could say, why don't you just play 3 Judgment? Because 3 Judgment is also once again expensive. Mostly this is just really fucking cheapskate. But Strike works just as well. Strike works just as well, 1 Judgment, because I could have easily just played 2 Strikes and a Judgment, but yeah, why not? I played just 3 Strikes and a Judgment and a Warning for good measure, basically. So yeah, if I could play 3 Judgment I would, but unfortunately I can't. So Strike works just as well, you guys. Now for the extra deck, you guys, the thing is the extra deck isn't really worth much to talk about because you don't really go into the extra deck. The extra deck is mostly you would use it for Extravagance, but I don't play Extravagance. But I still make the point of making something of an extra deck worthwhile, so we're just going to quickly skim over it. 1 Predaplant Trifolium, or Trifolium, oh man, what a name. 2 copies of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 1 Mud Dragon of the Swan, 1 World Chalice Guard Dragon Armadruk, 1 Diplexer Chimera, and 1 Salamangreat Violet Chimera. This is basically just your Super Poly target. Yeah, I didn't really go into any of them except for maybe Mud Dragon. So yeah, but these are just basically Super Poly targets, so just the only card in the extra deck you would use. We have generic XGs in Tornado Dragon, Abyss Dweller, and number 41 Bagushka, and generic links in Borrelsaur Dragon, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, and Beat Cup of the Underworld. This is just basically generic stuff. You never really go into this. There is a chance you could, but you really don't. Mostly you would go into the super poly targets. Then we have a side deck for the side deck that I used. 2 copies of Nibiru with the Primal Being against decks that really like to combo off. 2 copies of Artificial Glacier, which was specifically for Orcust. Ghost Ogre as replacement for Veiler. 2 copies of Twin Twister for back row removal. Dark Row no more in case I got up against a really problematic board and I had no choice but to try and out it. 2 anti-spell fragrance for Pendulum decks, in most cases just Endymion and the Dynamist player who really loves his deck way too much. And 3 copies of Red Rootwood in the lone chance I would have to face up against Guru or an Altergeist matchup. So yeah guys, that was the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel. And as always, I was Magnus with Team Snack, the sinister network of evil card games. And I wish you all a wonderful day and of course, happy dueling.